So in this video I'm going to be telling you guys the easiest way to qualify for the solo Cash Cup finals. Now this is probably the easiest Cash Cup which you can qualify for to the finals, as you don't need that many points, and there's multiple different ways which you can qualify, and I'm going to be telling you guys the easiest and fastest way that you can do that. Okay, so moving on to the first tip that I have that will make your life a lot easier when trying to qualify for the finals is knowing the point layout. So I'm going to put the how many points you get for different types of placement and eliminations on the screen now, as this will help you know exactly what to do and how to place in the tournament. I do recommend going for placement rather than kills, because you only get 1 point for a kill and I think about 25 points for placement if you come second. So obviously if you come first you get 30 points, as it's 5 points for a victory royale. But yeah, I do recommend, not like W keying everyone, going for kills, as this will, you only have 7 games to qualify. It's quite easy because you don't need that many points, about 80. It varies every week, but around 80 points, 75, 80 points every week to qualify. So going for placement is going to be very easy if you do just sit in a bush or camp. Okay, so moving on to the second tip of today's video is having a landing spot that you know well and know all the chest locations and how to loot it. So this is really important because you don't want to be landing somewhere that's very busy, or somewhere that you don't really know how to loot up, or somewhere that you're just going to be walking around with no loot on the map. So there's different places that I do recommend on landing spots. You can watch my other video, which is I did post a few weeks ago, which will help you out a lot. I'll put that in the description. And this is probably one of the most important things that you need to learn, because if you land at a really popular location, such as like Reckless Railways, then you're probably going to die straight off spawn if you're not good at the game, or even if you are good at the game, you can just get contested off spawn. You might not find a gun. So yeah, I do just recommend landing somewhere that's quite, people aren't going to land there. And yeah, this is a really useful tip that you need to know. Okay, so moving on to tip 3 is having the best loadout possible. Now, all this means is having an item of rotation, for example, the grapple glove, and a shotgun, an SMG, and medkits. Now, the reason why you need to carry medkits is because end game people are going to try and out-heal you because of zone, and you can do this very easily now. You can carry 6 medkits, but it depends. If you want to be safe, then carry 6 medkits, but I don't really recommend it if it's just in opens, not finals. If it's in finals, then carry 6, definitely, because you're just going to get out-healed. But yeah, just having the optimized loadout, the item of rotation, a shotgun and an SMG, and heals. So moving on to the 4th tip in today's video is knowing how to play in the actual endgame. Now, this is, obviously it's different every game, but it's quite similar every game. Now that doesn't really make much sense, but there's obviously going to be different scenarios. There might be less or more people. You might have 30 people in the end game. You might have 12. It varies in different games, but the main way to practice for end game is to play different creative maps. Now I will put a few creative maps in the description that I do suggest playing, that I play a lot, and it does help me in the Solo Victory Cup. Now, endgame is probably the most important in the actual games themselves, because that's where you really earn the points in the top 15, spots, because you get a point per placement, I think, after top 12. So yeah, just playing these maps, which I'll put in the description. So I do suggest having a look at them and playing them, because they will definitely increase your ability and how you play in the end game. Okay, so moving on to the 5th and final tip is collecting your caches and going for the forecast towers. Now, if you saw on the point format in the first tip, you get 3 points for getting your forecast tower. You don't get any points for collecting your caches, but they supply you with shield potions, big pots, med kits, ammo, and yeah, they're all round very good for endgame. So people can actually take your cache and you can take other people's, but this is something that I recommend getting to early. If it's across the map and there's a massive like medallion fight going on, or there's a huge fight, then I don't recommend going for it. But I do recommend getting it and, you know, trying your hardest to get it, because it is very useful for endgame and you're gonna need it for endgame. Another thing to add to that is you can go for the loot island, which is an island that spawns in like mid to end game, like more mid game. But yeah, you get 15 points for capturing the loot island, which is massive. But what you need to know is this is always highly contested, with I'd say about 8 to 10 people on there, and people know that it's a very fundamental thing that you need to get, so people do fight for it very often. It's very rare that you'll see about 2 people on Loot Island, but yeah, this is something that if you get like twice in out of your 7 games, you're pretty much guaranteed to qualify if you don't finish last in your other games. So this is something that I do recommend going to get in the right situation. So the right situation to get it is if it spawns within like 150 meters of you. Any more than that, then I don't suggest, because you're either going to get sprayed going to it, or people are going to counter you going up the zip lines. So the last thing I'm going to add is there's no tournaments for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. So take all these tips that I've given you to practice in ranked. I will also be having a video on the best ways to rank up and hit Unreal, which will be out in 2 to 4 days. So be sure to watch that one, as that's going to be a very good video as well. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a bit.